In three, two, one. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Coach Franco Breakdowns. And for today, we are going to break down the International MMA Federation's rules for the youth championships. One thing that's really good about the IMMAF or the International MMA Federation is they want to organize and make sure that everything is in order to grow the sport of MMA. It's a really good project, but it's a huge endeavor, and I'm very happy to be part of the International MMA Federation. I'm one of their coaches. A huge shout out to the organization for proliferating and growing and spreading the art of mixed martial arts and more or less putting a structure into it. So they want to create a youth program that would eventually form the amateur pool that would graduate into different mixed martial arts organizations. In the long run, if this becomes part of the Olympics, then this is probably more or less the rule set that we will follow. However, for us to better understand and for us to perform well, we have to know the rules. This is something that I really emphasize fighters and coaches really have time to understand and read, because we don't want we don't want untoward incidents, we don't want accidents, we don't want misinterpretations of the rules. I will put the links of the rules below in the description, so if you want to peruse this on your own. But for the sake of this video, I will read the rules, more or less the important points. You can read the abstract or the mission vision later on, but for the purposes of this video, kailangan muna nating ipakita yung rule set, and I will do my best to explain it in the best way that I know how. So let's begin. This when you click the link and when you what do you call this, when you try to understand the rule set and you read it, this is the Mixed Martial Arts Unified Rules for Youth Competition. So we're gonna go down. So you have the scope. It gives you a definition of what amateur mixed martial arts is, or amateur MMA. Scope will tell you it gives the MMA fighters, the athletes, the experience in order to progress through a possible career within the sport. Now, the rule set is recognized to the International MMA Federation, that varying country legislation may differ from region to region, and this can be reflected in the resultant documentations, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Now, when it comes to the Philippines, we have the PMAF, or the Philippine MMA Federation, and we are going to adhere, or we are going to adapt these rules in all of the PMAF tournaments. Kasi IMMAF is the global, or what do you call, the international governing body. So per region or per country, they will have their own representation. So for the Philippines, it's the PMAF, or the Philippine MMA Federation. There shall be an over and above policy instructed to officials when it comes to dealing with the safety of the youth participants. This shall be further detailed throughout this document. I think when it comes to the youth programs, they're very more particular. Of course, the number one priority is safety. So as much as possible, you want your athletes to be safe. You want them to develop. You want them to progress naturally without injuries, without things that won't allow them to perform at their maximum potential. So for the EMAF senior, so that's 18 plus. Then juniors, 18 to 20 years old or under 21. And then the youth A, 16 to 17 year old, so that's under 18. Youth B, 14 to 15 year olds, so that's the under 16. I'm giving you the terminologies kasi yun yung sasabihin. So it's either when you go to the tournament, it's either youth A, or they're gonna say under 21, or they're gonna say youth B, or they're gonna say under 16. So it really depends on who's going to organize. But at least you have the familiarity with the terminologies. Youth C is 12 to 13 year olds or under 14. This one, you can read this on your own, the definition of mixed martial arts. For jurisdiction, the referee shall remain the sole arbiter of a contest. All contests and exhibitions of mixed martial arts must be conducted under the supervision and authority of the commission or host regulatory body. So, as with anyone or everyone who's watched an MMA fight or has been to an MMA event, of course, the referee is the third person in the ring, the third man or the third woman in the ring or in the cage, and they are the arbiters of the rules. Rounds. Each contest under EMAF youth regulation shall consist of the following. So for the under 18, So that's youth A, 16 to 17-year-olds. So it's 3 2-minute rounds duration with a 1 minute rest period. So again, for under 18, tatlong 2-minute rounds, tapos 1 minute period na rest. For the IMMAF Youth B, so that's the 14 to 15-year-olds, or pwede rin natin sabihin it's the under 16, it's one single round of 4 minutes. So isang round, 4 minutes. For the IMMAF Youth C, so these are your 12 to 13-year-olds. Ito yung mga under 14, one round, 3 minutes. So let's recap that right away. So under 18, tatlong 2-minute rounds, 1 minute rest period. Under 16, one round, 4 minutes. Tapos yung under 14, one round, 3 minutes. The premise here in granting the participants the necessary additional and incremental competition times, increasing with age, during matches rising from 3 to 4 to 6 minutes respectively. So again, we're talking about progression. We're talking about building blocks. So syempre, pag bata, ito, binibuild mo pa lang yung foundation, binibuild mo pa lang yung fundamentals niya. So hindi pwedeng bugbugan ka agad, 'di ba? Kailangan maayos yung progression. Kailangan bibuild mo yung skill tapos ini-introduce mo paunti-unti yung value at saka yung experience, yung atmosphere ng competition. So that's one of the main reasons why everyone is bracketed per age, and at the same time the limited amount of time that they're going to be spending inside the cage is going to allow them a glimpse and a taste of competition, the taste of an actual fight without giving them further damage. Kasi syempre, the longer rounds, the longer time, you increase the amount of damage, you increase the probability of injury. So this is, again, we're looking after the safety, okay? We want them to be safe. We want them to progress. We want them to have fun with this. No contest, no contest should be allowed over a two-round format as the likelihood for a drawn result significantly increases. Okay, that makes sense. Stopping the contest. The referee and the ringside physician are the only individuals authorized to enter the ring fighting area at any time during competition, and the referee is the sole arbiter of a contest and is the only individual authorized to stop a contest. I think that's very clear. As with any type of competition, if the referee deems that you are unfit to continue, you're unfit to fight, of course, it's his call, or the referee will call for the ring physician or the cage physician to take a look at the fighter or the athlete. And if they both agree, or the physician says that this person cannot continue anymore, fight is over. Judging, all contests will be evaluated and scored by the referee and a second official. A table judge should be the need to confer a rise. So again, let's just make this clear. The referee is the third person in the ring. He is the arbiter, so he will enforce the rules. And then on the side of the ring or the cage or the tournament area, they will have judges. Ayan o. So that's why, and the second official table judge should the need to confer a rise. This was put here because some tournaments kasi, I mean, hindi, buti naman hindi ako umabot sa ganun. Pero minsan kasi yung iba, yung referee na, judge pa siya. So, medyo mahirap na trabaho yun. Scoring system. The unified criteria currently utilized by IMMAF senior and junior tournaments shall be applied and used in determining the winner of a contest based upon its effective use and application. So that's the scoring. I think, as far as I know, this is like a 10-point must system. So I think, well, let's look further down on the rules. Warnings. A single warning will be issued for the following infractions only. So single warning to a single warning. This could be verbal, or there could be a pause within the fight, and then the referee will tell you single warning. So either or to. So number one, holding or grabbing the fence, holding onto opponent's shorts, gloves, shin guards or rash guard, having the fingers outstretched, palm parallel to the floor towards towards opponent face. So holding or grabbing the fence. Syempre, this happens normally in a clinch situation wherein one fighter is pinned or both fighters are fighting for a more dominant position or a more advantageous position within a standing position in the cage. So, syempre, this happens during takedowns, takedown defense. Person getting taken down doesn't want to get taken down, so they hold on to the fence. So that's a single warning. Tori, holding opponent's shorts. So you're holding your opponent's shorts, you're holding your opponent's gloves, your opponent's shin guards or rash guard. Then the third one, having fingers outstretched, palm parallel to the floor. This is to prevent eye pokes. So your hand should be up. Now some fighters would like to stretch their arms out, okay, to determine the range. When they said outstretched palm, parallel to the floor. So this is how it looks like. Yan. So if your fingers are stretched and then they're parallel to the floor, this is a warning. So your hands should be clamped down. Okay, the fingertips are ideally clamped down, or you create a fist. Okay, let's not make our lives more complicated. You don't want an infraction. Okay, so just keep the fingers down. Keep the fingers down. The following acts constitute a foul in mixed martial arts competition. Number one, butting with the head or headbutts. Eye gouging of any kind. So headbutts, alam na natin yon. Everyone knows that. Eye gouging is it could be a deliberate eye gouge, which wherein you put your finger inside your opponent's eyes, or the very sneaky ones. Like for example, they'll cover the mouth or they'll cover the face, but eventually the fingers will start to creep in on their opponent's eyes. Please avoid doing that. The referees are very more often than not, referees are for our fighters as well or competitors, so they kind of know what you're doing. Fish hooking. So fish hooking is there's a cut or there's an open wound or there's an open orifice and then you clamp your fingers inside. Okay? If I'm wrong, please put it in the comment section so that you can correct me. Hair pulling. So hair pulling, disadvantageous position. You don't want your opponents to advance further, so you grab their hair. Spiking the opponent to the canvas, onto the head or neck, or pile driving. So more or less when you take someone down, you grab them by the hips or the legs, you trip them, they fall naturally. Spiking the opponent is lifting the opponent all the way up in a vertical fashion, and then you invert them. So by the time that they land, okay, by the time that they land, so they're more or less in a reverse 90-degree, or their heads or their necks are in direct collision to the floor. So yung spiking is, di ba, normal takedown kasi is you go up and then you slide down. Go up, circular fashion, go down. Spiking is going up, turning your opponent upside down, spiking the head towards the canvas or the mat. Yon, bawal yon. Kasi it poses a lot of danger to the head and the neck. Strikes to the spine or the back of the head. The spine includes the tailbone. So, self-explanatory, back of the head. Ideally, we follow this rule. This is the face. This is the ear. Okay. Anything beyond the ear, okay, or beyond the hairline of the ear, that's kind of that's illegal, or we're going to give warnings when it comes to that. Now, of course, back of the head is, of course, this area. Okay. Back of the head is here, neck, spine, and tailbone. So everything that is aligned with your spine, so yung nasa pinakalikod, the buto, bawal yon. Throat strikes of any kind or grabbing the trachea. So this one, this is your neck, this is your trachea. The moment you do this, okay, ideally the loophole or the fine line, the very thin line is you create a wedge, okay, or you create a frame with your hand, open palms, and then you press down. Okay, you press down, you put downward pressure on the neck. More or less, that will be allowed. But the moment you clamp your hands, the moment you pinch the trachea, your attention will be called and a foul will be because a foul has been committed. Fingers outstretched towards an opponent's face or eye. So ito na yon. We're gonna go back to this rule. Okay, we're gonna go back to this rule. So please avoid doing this. Downward pointing elbow strike or 12 to 6. So this is a legal strike with the elbow. This is a legal strike. This is a legal 12 to 6 is the moment you go up and then elbow goes down. As far as I know, the 12 to 6 is the only elbow that's not allowed, but everything else is allowed. Okay. So 12 to 6, this one. Okay. 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So that's not allowed. Groin attacks of any kind, kneeing or kicking the head of a grounded opponent. This is what do you call this? This is wherein you're in side mount, north, south. A grounded opponent is wherein 4 points or at least 3 points are on the ground. This one we will confer. I think there's probably a breakdown of what is a grounded opponent. Okay, but as far as I know, when it comes to a grounded opponent, all four corners are down or the person is flat on the ground. That is a grounded opponent. Stomping of a grounded fighter. Stomping is wherein you have a grounded opponent and then you are going to stomp. So it's your foot hiking all the way up and then you're going to, I forgot the Tagalog term for stomping eh. Pero basta ano mo siya, sisipain mo siya pababa. So ito yung paa mo, it goes up and then it goes all the way down. For a grounded opponent. Okay? For a grounded opponent. So grounded, nakaupo, nakahiga. So yun, bawal ang stomping dun. Holding the opponent's gloves, shorts, shin guards, or rash guard. We discussed that a while ago. Holding or grabbing the fence with fingers or toes. So this one, you can grab with the hand. Okay, yung mga yan, obvious na yun eh. Dito pala, pati toes. So when it's normally the big fingers of the toes. So normally it's the big toe and the finger right next to that. The finger, the pointer na toe. Yan, more or less those are the ones that really clamp on the cage. So apparently that constitutes as a foul in the IMMAF youth rules. Small joint manipulation. So for example, you take a finger and then you twist it. Right, take a finger, twist it. Small joint manipulations. Throwing an opponent out of the fighting area. So, reminiscent of Tank Abbott, picks up his opponent, looks for the edge of the cage or the ring, throws his opponent outside the cage or the ring or the fighting area. Intentionally placing a finger into an orifice or any cut or laceration of your opponent. So, again, as I mentioned earlier, I think this is part of the fish hooking. Fish hooking then is, as far as I know, fish hooking is also wherein you put your finger inside your opponent's mouth and yan. So, yung ganyan. Yan, that's fish hooking. So that also constitutes a foul. So intentionally placing a finger on the orifice is, you get a cut here, you get a cut on the lip, and then your opponent decides to drill down their fingers on your orifice. Clawing, pinching, twisting the flesh. So, yan. Kurutan. Bawal ang kurutan. Timidity. Okay? Timidity. Timidity, avoiding contact or consistently dropping the mouthpiece or faking an injury. Faking an injury, that automatically means that the fight is over. Avoiding contact. Avoiding contact, timidity, consistently dropping the mouthpiece. So you drop the mouthpiece once, that probably you'll get a warning from the referee. You keep dropping it, that constitutes as a foul. More often than not, the referee will ask you, do you still want to continue? Timidity is also your ability to not engage, yung hindi ka nag-engage sa kalaban mo. Use of abusive language in the fighting area, so that's trash talking. Flagrant disregard of the referee's instructions, so the referee keeps giving you instructions, ikaw naman di mo sinusunod. Unsportsmanlike conduct that causes an injury to the opponent. So unsportsmanlike conduct, so any unsportsmanlike conduct, the referee will definitely call your attention. If you keep doing that, you will be issued a warning. If you still opt not to listen, you can be disqualified. Ako, pag hindi ako sinunod, disqualify. I'm gonna disqualify your ass. Attacking an opponent after the bell has sounded, the end of a period of unarmed combat. So this is also something that referees pay attention to a lot of times. I mean, actually, it's all the time. Of course, it's either in the heat of the action or if there's bad blood, if there's a rivalry, you want to up one against your opponent. Gagawin yan last 10 seconds or alamin nila, the moment the bell rings, tatapusin nila yung combination nila. So, syempre, that constitutes as an undue advantage or that's a foul. So, please don't do that. Attacking an opponent on or during the break. This happens normally. For example, it's a stalemate or there's no much action in a clinch or in a grappling position. The referee will instruct the fight to be paused or to be stopped, and then you will reset standing up. More often than not, that break in between, the gap, is wherein some fighters will take advantage of. Tapos they'll either punch or slap the guy or kick him. So that constitutes as a foul. Please don't do that. Attacking an opponent who is under the care of the referee. So fight is paused, referee is checking the fighter, opponent decides to keep attacking. Please don't do that. Interference from a mixed martial artist, tama. Interference from a mixed martial artist corner or seconds. So the coaching staff or the coach or the team, right, decides to interfere with the fight, that constitutes as a foul. Applying any foreign substance to the head or body in order to gain an advantage. So this is baby oil, hair gel, liniments, ointments. Don't do that. More often than not, you will get a pat down, and if the referee sees that uh, there's something fishy or there's something suspicious with either anything that is in your body, that constitutes as a foul. So let's go. Forbidden techniques. In addition to the listed fouls above, techniques shall remain forbidden in amateur mixed martial arts contests shall be elbows and forearm strikes of any kind. So for the youth program, there will be no elbows and forearm strikes. So this is the elbow strikes, forearm strikes. Forearm is this part, okay? Okay? Below the wrist and just slightly above the elbow. So this bone is the forearm. Heel hooks, twisters, neck cranks, can openers, sit through crucifix, or on any submission deemed as applying pressure to the neck or spine, knees to the head of an opponent. So again, these are the moves that will not be allowed for the IMMAF youth tournament. So elbow strikes, heel hooks, and then neck cranks. So when you go neck cranks, this is wherein there is just you are isolating the spine or you're cranking the jawline in order to create discomfort and warrant a submission. So anything and also any submission deemed to apply pressure to the neck or the spine. So yung mga spine cranks, yung mga twisting submissions, that's not allowed. In addition to the listed fouls and forbidden techniques for amateur competition, the following restrictions shall also apply to the youth age category in which they are listed. This is the more important ones. We are going to segregate the rules now. Okay, this will be the more important, more detailed na rule sets. There will be no striking to the head or face or any and all levels of youth A, B, and C competition permitted. There will be no striking to the head or face for any and all levels of youth A, B, and C competition permitted. Youth C, 12 to 13 years old. Number 1, no striking with the knees in any fashion. So walang tuhod sa 12 to 13 years old or sa youth C. No grounded striking of any fashion. No bicep or calf crush. No wrist locks. No leg submissions of any description. No omoplata submission. No suplex, elevated shoulder throws or slams. No guillotine chokes of any description. No linear kicks to the knee. So yung mga oblique kicks, bawal yun. No upkick from a grounded position, and no foot stomps. So again, I will link all of these rules in the bottom for your reference, but I will repeat those again. No striking with the knees in any fashion, no grounded striking of any fashion, no bicep or calf crush, no wrist locks, no leg attacks, no omoplatas, no suplex, no guillotines, no linear kicks to the knee, no up kick from a grounded position, no foot stumps. Any throw must be of a hip or hip toss variation and have both head and arm control. So dapat may head and arm control. And then when it comes to this, just go for foot trips or foot sweeps. There's the reasoning behind this will be here, the premise on which the youngest group of amateurs will compete. More or less, this is going to be for the safety of the combatants, or this is going to be for the safety of the athletes. We don't want them to incur any type of injury habang bata pa lang sila, diba? We want to develop them. Okay? We want to develop them. So for the youth B, 14 to 15 years old. Number 1, no striking with the knees in any fashion, no grounded striking of any fashion, no bicep or calf crush, no wrist locks, no knee bars. Legal leg attacks are straight Achilles and figure 4 ankle lock with straight leg only. So plain and simple, straight foot lock. No omoplata submission, no suplex, elevated shoulder throws or slams, no standing guillotine chokes, no linear chokes no linear kicks to the knee, no up kick from a grounded opponent, from a grounded position, and no foot stomps. So figure 4 ankle locks are to be applied in a straight leg only. No bending of the knee whilst applying the submission allowed. Guillotine chokes must be of arm in type and finished from a grounded position. So let's repeat that. Layman's fashion muna tayo. So no striking with the knees, no knees whatsoever. No grounded striking of any fashion. So walang ground and pound. Walang bicep or calf crush. No wrist locks. No knee bars. So ang pwede lang dito na leg attacks are the straight foot locks. So straight foot locks, you have to attack a straight leg. And yung, ano yan, tawag dito, kung ano yung stretch leg, straight foot lock lang ang pwede. Yun na lang ang isipin nyo. And then no omoplatas, no suplex or above the hips, above the shoulders na takedowns or what do you call this? No standing guillotines. So guillotine na nakatayo, bawal. No linear kicks to the knee. So those are your oblique kicks again. No up kick from a grounded position. So if you're the grounded opponent or you're the grounded fighter, mag-up kick ka, that's not allowed. And then no foot stomps. Now, when it comes to guillotines, if you want to do a guillotine, just make sure that you're on the ground and you're going to do an arm in variation of a guillotine. This one, Youth A, 16 to 17-year-olds. So this is going to be no striking with the knees in any fashion, no kicking to the body of a downed opponent, closed fist striking to the body only, no bicep or calf crush, no wrist locks, no suplex, no standing guillotine chokes, no linear kicks to the knee, no up kick from a grounded position, no foot stomps. So the same more or less na medyo may konting ano lang. So no knees pa rin. No kicking to the body of a downed opponent. So when you're standing, so when you're striking na stand up, okay, you can kick your opponent's body. Tapos, when the fight goes to the ground, you cannot kick your opponent's body anymore. And then at the same time, you are allowed ground and pound. You can strike your opponent's. You can strike a downed opponent. However, you're only allowed to hit the body. So pag na-takedown mo yung kalaban mo, gusto mo mag-ground and pound, pwede mo siyang i-ground and pound, pero hindi pwede sa muka, sa katawan lang. No biceps or calf crushes, no wrist locks, no suplex or any high level or high arcing takedowns. They're not allowed. Just don't do them. So go with your body to body na takedowns, foot sweeps, di ba? Yung mga ano na lang, yung mga basic. Hindi kailangan highlight reel. No standing guillotine choke. So again, standing guillotines are not allowed. No linear kicks. Ito yung mga oblique kicks. No up kicks. So again, the only leg attacks that you're allowed are straight foot locks. And then guillotine chokes from a grounded position and arm in. Foul procedure. Disqualification can occur after any combination of fouls or after a single flagrant foul. Fouls resulting in a point or points being deducted and as signaled by the referee must result in the deduction from the offending contestant's score. Ano na lang to? This is all scoring. So anytime that you get an infraction, you break the rules, the referee will say as the arbiter, sasabihin niya, less 1 point, minus 1 point, or sasabihin niya, masyado kang pasaway, tapos na yung laban, talo ka. Okay? So again, plain and simple, you have to play by the rules. Okay? Please follow the rules, play by the rules. Okay, so for example, a foul, this probably covers the groin shot. So a foul is called, the contestant has up to 5 minutes to recuperate. So normally the referee will signal time, instruct the timer, have 5 minutes there, let the opponent or let the victim of the foul recover for 5 minutes. More or less the 5 minutes is yung mga ayan. It could be more often than not, it's the groin shot. If a foul is committed, the referee may call time should the fouled contestant show any visible sign of distraction or injury. The referee shall call time. The referee shall check the fouled contestant's condition and safety. The referee shall then instruct the fouling contestant to a neutral corner. So this is important as well. Anytime that there's an infraction, tapos sasabihin ng referee, time, so titignan niya ngayon ano nangyari doon sa nabiktima, and then the fouled Okay? The fouled contestant. The fouling contestant. Okay? The fouling contestant will be instructed. So, sasabihin ng referee, okay, yung iba kasi mag-aano pa eh, pupunta sa corner nila, inom ng tubig, o kaya hihingi ng instruction. No. The referee will tell you, go to your neutral corner. So, neutral corner will be labeled sa cage or sa ring. Doon ka maghihintay. Assess the foul to the fouled contestant, deduct points if required, and notify the judges and official scorekeeper. If a bottom contestant commits a foul, unless the top contestant is injured, the contest will continue without referee intervention. More or less, the referee will, ano to, magbibigay ng verbal warning or they will remind you of the rules. Parang, oy, bawal mag-up kick. Oy, you can't grab this. Oy, you can't do that. Okay? So this is to remind the fighters, especially the grounded fighters na, yung mga nasa ground na, yung nasa nakahiganan, oy, you're not following the rules. The referee will verbally notify the bottom contestant of the foul. Okay, tama pala. When the round is over, the referee will assess the foul and notify both corners, the judges, and the official scorekeeper. Injuries sustained by fair blows and fouls. Fair blows are defined as injury. Fair blows. If injury is severe enough to terminate a contest, the injured fighter loses by TKO. Types of foul. So, intentional foul. If an injury is severe enough to cause the immediate termination of contest, the contestant causing the injury loses via disqualification. If an injury is produced and the contest is allowed to continue, the referee will notify the authorities and automatically deduct 2 points. So, 2 points deduction kagad pala to from the contestant who committed the foul. Point deductions for intentional fouls will be mandatory. Okay. If an injury as described in B above is the cause of the contest being stopped in a later round, the injured fighter will win by technical decision if he is ahead on the scorecards. If an injury as described in B above is the cause of the contest being stopped in a later round, the contest will result in a technical draw if the injured contestant is behind or even on the scorecards. Okay. Fighter A injures fighter B. So later in the rounds, fighter B cannot continue dahil lumalala na yung injury na nangyari. The fight gets stopped or paused. We go to the scorecards. If fighter B is ahead in the scorecards, he will win via technical decision. If fighter B is behind the scorecards, ang mangyayari, technical draw. If a contestant injures himself while attempting to foul his opponent, the referee will not take any action in his favor. The injury will be the same as one produced by a fair blow. So kung ikaw may kasalanan, so kung in-injure mo yung sarili mo, sorry ka na lang. Fight continues. Accidental fouls. Any injury severe enough for the referee to stop the contest immediately will result in a no contest if stopped before 2 rounds have been completed in a 3-round contest or if stopped before 3 rounds have been completed in a 5-round contest. So, no contest ng laban. So, for example, lumampas na ng 2 rounds or halfway through the second round for a 3-round fight. If you're in the halfway mark of the third round or you're in the third round of a 5-round fight, an injury severe enough for the referee to stop the contest immediately after 2 rounds of a 3-round contest or after 3 rounds of a 5-round contest have occurred, the contest will result in a technical decision awarded to the contestant who is ahead on the scorecard. So, this is where in what do you call this? They go to the judges, look at the scorecards, and whoever is ahead of the scorecard, yun ang mananalo. If injury B above occurs, there will be no scoring of an incomplete round. If injury letter B above occurs and the referee penalizes either contestant, then points shall be deducted from the final score. Normally, yung mga ganito, when it comes to injuries kasi, or these are your accidental headbutts, accidental blows na hindi naman like in the heat of the action, hindi naman sinasadya na siko, di sinasadya na sipa or natuhod. Physicians and other technical committee personnel or will be involved and then they're gonna look at like, okay, they're going to talk to the referee pero syempre the referee being the sole arbiter will decide na okay, let's go to the scorecards, or no, we can continue the fight based on the feedback from the fighters. The way I understand this is, hindi ko magets yung ano eh, any injury severe enough for the referee to stop the contest immediately after 2 rounds, blah, 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 blah. So, ano lang to? So, decision making lang to. So, if it's the protocol and point deduction criteria currently utilized in junior, senior IMMAF competition shall be the same throughout the youth tournaments. The premise behind that we are complete under and adhering to as close to a single and unified rule set as possible for all EMAF tournaments. So again, they want to get organized. They want to make sure that everyone's following one rule set. Weight divisions, weigh-ins for amateur contestants shall be on the day of the competition and each subsequent day of competition that the athletes progress. All athletes must weigh in. To facilitate this, all contestants at all official weigh-ins shall be granted an additional 1 pound or 4,454 grams of allowance over and above their designated weight category as detailed below. So for the youth C, so that's 12 to 13 years old, you got 31 kilos, 34, 37, 40, 44, 48, 52, 57, and above 57 with a maximum of 62 kilos. Then youth B, so that's your 14 to 15-year-olds, 40, 44, 48, 52, 57, 62, 67, 72, and above 72 with the limit up to 77.1. And then 16 to 17-year-olds, as per current EMAF rule set. So for the males, straw weight is 52.2 kilos, flyweight is 56.7, bantamweight is 61.2 kilos, featherweight is 65.8, lightweight is 70.3, welterweight is 77.1, middleweight is 83.9, light heavyweight is 93 kilos, heavyweight is 120.2 kilos, or more or less they're following. This is more or less the UFC rule set. So yeah, 115, 125, 35, 45, and so on and so forth. So for the females, atom weight is 105 pounds. So that's 47.7 kilos. Straw weight is 52.2. Fly weight, 56.7. Bantam weight, 61.2. 65.8 is the featherweight. Lightweight is 70.3 and welterweight is 77.1. Medical requirements. Of course, you have to get your medicals, your physical examination. So it's all here. Competition, equipment, or EMAF equipment section. So of course, if you're going to go MMA, especially in the EMAF, you're going to wear rash guard shorts, groin protectors, mouthpiece, and then shin guards, and then MMA gloves. So let's see, protective kit. So you got gloves, shin guards, groin protectors, mouthpiece, shorts, rash guards, shoes. Shoes. Athletes may not wear shoes of any kind during competition. Okay, nagulat ako, may shoes eh. Equipment control procedure. Replacements will be issued in the following cases: torn equipment, blood stains, worn out equipment, lost or stolen kits. Long hair must be tied up out of the way. Okay. Fighting area requirements. So there's a fence, ring stools, other equipment, safety requirements. So what else is here? Types of contest results: submission by physical tap out, verbal tap out, or knockout. Technical knockout: referee stops contest, referee stopping the contest on the advice of the ringside physician. Decision via the referee, and if required, second official, table judge, disqualification, and forfeit. So those are the ways of winning. Okay, so this one, so let's dive into this a bit. Scoring techniques, effective striking or grappling. Effective striking grappling shall be considered the first priority of round assessments. Effective striking grappling, legal blows that have immediate or cumulative impact with the potential to contribute towards the end of the match, with the immediate weighing in more heavily than the cumulative impact. So again, immediate impact tayo dito. Successful execution of takedowns, submission attempts, reversals, and the achievement of advantageous positions that produce immediate or cumulative impact with the potential to contribute to the end of the match. So again, This is all about progression into more dominant positions. It shall be noted that a successful takedown is not merely a changing of position, but the establishment of an attack from the use of the takedown. So when you take someone down, you have to keep them down, you have to establish your position. Submission attempts that cause an opponent to tire and weaken, taking considerable effort to escape, shall be given greater weight when scoring than those attempts that are easily defended and escaped without effort. Impactful throws and takedowns are weighed more heavily than athletes who are tripped or bundled to the mat. This will be deciding factors in a high majority of decisions when scoring a round. Under IMMAF youth competition, the referee in charge of the match shall determine the winner of the contest based on the evaluation and use of the criteria as set out within the document. So this depends if it's just a referee or if there are judges. Uh so there's an appeals process. Again, so you will definitely submit documents or you will fight your plea. But more or less, those are the rules. This is a 17-page document that I will link below so you can further study and read this. But for now, those are the rule sets for the EMAF youth rules and regulations. So I will go make another video for the other rule sets of the other types. So more or less, these are your seniors and your older peeps. So that's it for now. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.